Hi, welcome to Luigi's Gaming Lounge. This is Luigi 8 Mario, and today we are on episode 9. And we have with us Out of Time Ecto 1, aka
Andy. Hello.
We have Trip Hazard, aka
Barnaby. Hello.
And we have Commando Para, aka
Yo, it's your homeboy Tony. Yo, what up?
T-Dog. How's everyone doing? All right, yeah? Good?
Yeah, all
Good.
good. You, mate?
Enjoying the sun today?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit burnt.
A little bit burnt, yeah. It's been nice.
Traffic cone.
Tell us where have you been today, Andy?
I've been, there's places like the Maldives, Costa del Sol. I've been to Skeg Vegas.
Skeg Vegas.
Wait. Yeah, it's on par.
Wow.
I've been seeing the delightful sights of trackies tucked into socks, the council tans. It's just beautiful. It's stunning.
Good.
Well, moving on from that, let's talk games, shall we? So, I have been quite excited about Chivalry 2. I don't believe any of you have played the first one. I've played the first one on PC and on Xbox. Really enjoyed it. For me, when I played it, the first one, it reminded me of sort of like a online Call of Duty style game, but medieval era. And I really liked, even then, I liked the fighting mechanics and everything. And with Chivalry 2, because obviously it's like in open beta at the moment, I think they've done really well with this second one. I mean, you guys have had a short time on it and tried it out. So I'm just looking for sort of initial impressions and feelings. Trip Hazard, would you like to take it away and start us off?
Yeah, sure. Yes. I'm always interested to see new multiplayer games. So I wasn't much sure what to make of Chivalry because I've not really played anything like it before, but it's always good to try them out. And initial impressions, tutorial takes you through all the basics, a few of the advanced moves as well. So that's good. I only got time to play one match, 40-player mixed match in the tournament field, I think it was. And it's very interesting trying out all the different classes. Now, typically, I always go for the long-range classes first.
Same.
So I picked the archer, that's right, and I managed to get a few shots off, but you have to be careful because there are countermeasures to the archer in that some of the knights can wield shields.
Yeah.
And that effectively blocks a lot of the arrows.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not too much that I found that can help you up at close range. So I also tried out I can't remember the exact name, but go with a pike, decent range but slow swing speed, and also tried out the knight. I think I was stuck with the knight for the majority of the match.
Yeah.
It just seems like a decent all-rounder because the armor will protect you a little bit, and the sword's reasonably quick and powerful. But you have to be fairly careful. The tactics are entirely different from an FPS multiplayer experience because everything is so close range.
Yes, yeah.
And it is good to gang up on your opponents, but at the same time, friendly fire is on. So you can easily, with a wide swing of your sword, clip your opponents as well.
Yeah.
Which is not so good. But it's fun. It was just, for me, I was mostly just trying out all the different buttons, and I didn't really get the hang of it. It wasn't very tactical or anything spectacular.
No, well, like you said,
that.
you've only had
Early days.
Yeah.
And I think with a bit of practice and getting used to the different controls and moves and so forth, it could be a good fun game.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those games. At the end of the day, some people might play it and think, "Oh, this is horrible." It's something I feel if you do put a bit of time into it and you learn those moves, because it is quite complex, the fighting sort of mechanics and system.
I like what they're doing with it actually because it feels dynamic because the sword swings move in the direction that you're facing, so you can.
Yeah.
It's not just a single hack and slash or a stab.
Yeah.
But you can actually move it more dynamically, and especially I think with the feinting and the parrying, that can be very dynamic indeed. So you can go into the start of one swing and then immediately switch it up with another swing.
Yeah.
So I only did those almost by accident, really, but I can see how you'd get some very dynamic moves in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, once I did the tutorial, I thought it was really sort of button and trigger happy, much like when you play like Tekken or Mortal Kombat, you have a special move, but if you sort of get the combo down to a T, it really works well. And the one thing that I really liked, I was charging into the enemy's patch. So there was a bunch of them. There was about 7 of them. I took them all out, but as I was running towards them, I was on my own. Part of that tutorial, it teaches you to swing at the right time prior to getting closer to your opponent, and that managed to annihilate 2 of them. And I had this massive axe, and I thought it was brilliant. And I was trying to work on the combos where it was the reaction time, where you really do have to sort of place your fingers on the triggers and buttons quickly to go right block, then quickly jab or to slice. And again, like you said, Barnaby, I love the range of where you can sort of place your swing and sort of maximize your swing. So instead of going for that one opponent, when you're against 2 or 3 sort of other opponents, you can actually drag your swing around with your torso of the body as if you were swinging your character's torso. But yeah, I agree. I think it's brilliant. I think it's one of those. It's where you have to really play tactics, and I think it gives it a new light of a sort of a death match, so to speak, of like Call of Duty, when you play with your friends or other people.
Because there's just too many FPSs on the market. You need to mix it up a little. And I think that's an underserved part of the genre. So I'm all for experimental FPS multiplayer games like this. So, I'd like to see a lot more of them.
Yeah, ditto. Yeah, I thought it was really good. You know, the range of movements, what I put it compared to is, like I said, you've got the special moves like Tekken, but it's the same when you play any of the boxing games like Champion. You've got these range of combos, or if you play UFC, it is really strategy, and I think that just gives it a bit more of a arm-to-arm combat sort of mode instead of actually having weaponry. You know, it's more hands-on, physical, instead of standing 100 meters away and aiming at your opponent like you would on Call of Duty or Battlefield, and taking them out there. So it does really give it a different dynamic of playing, and I think the strategy could be a lot. There's going to be a lot of talk in how you would, advance, how you would approach the enemy, and how you would flank them.
Exactly. I mean, when I was,
so I think it's going to be good to invest some time into this.
Yeah, when I was playing, it was just with a group of randoms, so I didn't really have chat on or anything. But I think if you can get some squad tactics down tight, then that could be really effective.
Yeah, because like you say, I mean, if, for example, if the 4 of us was to jump on at one time, like you say, one of you or 2 of you could be archers, the other 2 can be, more close quarter combat, and if you stick together, form a formation, I could see, you could dominate the battlefield and it's all communication, isn't it? Like with most competitive games. Just to sort of give the listeners, in case they're not aware, an idea. I'm just going to read a little bit of information about Chivalry 2. So it's a sequel to the first game, which was called Chivalry Medieval Warfare. It's been developed by Torn Banner Studios with collaboration from Tripwire.
It's a relative of mine.
Relative of yours, yeah, Tripwire, exactly. Not Trip Hazard.
Trademark.
And also, it was developed and pioneered by veteran programmer Rafid Mahmood. This is interesting here. It says Chivalry 2 will support up to 64 players and has added horses, enabling a new set of battle tactics.
Wow.
It's going to release on the Epic Game Store on June the 8th this year, 2021. And I believe we will be releasing on console then also. However, Steam will not have it until a year later. Steam isn't going to have it until June the 8th, 2022.
Sounds a bit like a power play move from Epic.
It does, doesn't it? But yeah, I'll just quickly read out a couple of more bits here, because it's one of those games. The first Chivalry. Like I said, I've played it. You guys haven't. I don't think that many people was really aware of this game. and I just feel I want to make a bit of a, not a hype, but I just want to put it out there for, so people give it a go. So obviously it's like we said, it's a multiplayer first-person slasher inspired by epic medieval movie battles. Players are thrust into the action of every iconic moment of the era, from the thunder of cavalry charges to storms of flaming arrows, sprawling castle sieges, and more. And it says here, dominate massive 64-player battlefields, catapults tear the earth apart as you lay siege to castles, set fire to villages, and slaughter filthy peasants in the return of team objective maps. Ride to war on horseback and claim glory by your blade. So, for me, that, I love it already. It's just, like you said, there's so many FPS games out there, competitive games. It's nice to have something different, when you don't want to play a game where you're picking up a gun and you're running around like a lunatic. Instead, you could pick up a sword, pick up a bow and arrow, and off you go. Or an axe in Tony's case. Was that your preference, Tony? The axe?
Yeah, well, no, it didn't give me the option from what I could see. It was quickly jumping into a game, but the axe had sort of a larger swing. I think it's just due to the length of the weapon. It gave me sort of the larger radius of the swing, so I could maximise, which opponents I hit. And like I said, I absolutely destroyed 2 of them, and I had 7 of them around me. And I absolutely smashed them, and it was brilliant. It was great. It was just learning to remember to to block and armor. But what I want to get onto is this game. Immediately when I played it, and my favourite film, as most of you know, is Gladiator with Russell Crowe. Mm-hmm. There's so many sort of comments in that movie, and just the action scenes. It reminded me of Rise, Son of Rome. That was on Xbox One. It was one of the first games that I played when I first got the Xbox when I moved over, and it kind of it's taken that next step. Obviously, it's not based on Rome time, but because it's the.
But I was saying that would be awesome if you had like a multiplayer game based on the ancient Roman gladiator arenas.
Yeah,
that would.
Especially when you read about some of those arenas, like I think one arena that actually flooded the entire thing to replicate a ship battle.
Oh.
So if they could, just ridiculous stories like that of what the Romans actually did in the arenas, just lends itself so well to video games. I think
that would be cool. That would be cool if they could,
especially with all the funky weapons like tridents and nets and so on.
Yeah,
I'm keen to sort of invest some more time into this and see what other things, especially playing yourselves. For me to close on my points, I highly recommend it, and I shall be looking to possibly make the purchase because once it's out, it's brilliant.
Let's hope it goes on live.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Game Pass? Is that what you mean?
Game Pass, yes.
Yeah. Wow, that would be awesome if it did. One of the things that I quite liked actually was I quite enjoyed the voiceovers on this game.
Yes, they're very tongue-in-cheek, aren't they?
They are. I wasn't quite expecting them to be like that, and it adds something fresh, I think. One of them things, where it just sort of puts a little smirk and a smile on your face. Yeah,
I was saying this to my partner yesterday because she was watching me as I was going through the tutorial. It was just like the Cockney sort of Southern English sort of accent, and it was trying to go right now. What you got to do now is get a bacon sandwich, go and get a brown sauce. It was just a bit too sort of
that should be a side quest.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But I thought it was brilliant. It was quite comical. It was, as Andy would say, it's very humorous.
Very humorous. Yeah. Now here I'm just reading up some more information because it says here, refuse to die, keep fighting after losing a limb, being knocked down, disarmed, set on fire, filled with arrows, your shield broken, smothered in blood, and still throwing punches from your knees. Bandages, revives, and the new down state allow you to support teammates and stay in the action until you've bled your last drop. And also, as well, it says here, kitchen sink. Battlefields are littered with dozens of items to interact with. Grab a chicken, set it on fire, and throw it. It says, kill a man with his friend's head. Improvise a new fighting style with pitchforks or tomatoes.
Wow.
And
tomatoes, please. Tomatoes.
Yeah, sorry, tomatoes. Tomato. Anyway, and another thing to mention, if people aren't aware, this has full cross-play between consoles and PC, which, as we discussed before we started recording here, that is the way forward. Full cross-play.
Indeed it is. It is. So, yeah, listen up, game developers. Cross-play only for all your games.
Cross-play only. If you want your game to stay alive longer, you need to enable cross-play. But, yeah, I mean, Andy, are you still with us, or are you there?
I'm with you. I'm actually playing through the tutorial of Chivalry 2 as we speak.
Okay.
Which bit are you on?
And I'm the full example of what you guys have been explaining, because I'm currently stuck with the the battle mechanics of this game. I went into it expecting a bit of a hack and slash.
No.
It's throwing lots of combinations at me. It's block, dash, loads of different overhead strikes, jabs. It's there's a lot to take in.
It is a lot to take in.
I am, however, playing it muted, so I haven't got to enjoy this Cockney language that I'm now very much looking forward to hearing. Because albeit I'm multitasking, which is why I'm a little bit quieter this evening, but I didn't want to be listening to other audio as well. But I'll sort of mirror what you guys have said. I think it was Barney mentioned, but the battle royale, the first-person shooters, it is a very flooded sort of market. And to have something with the same sort of system behind it, but with a bit more depth, a bit more mechanics to it. You have to think a bit more, because Modern Warfare, it's great, it has so many players, but there's such a steep learning curve, and it's not really skill. I suppose it is skill, but you get the headshot, you got a decent upgraded gun, you're going to get the win. Whereas something like this, it is more dependent on your actual how good you can use that control pedal, the controls in front of you, how well you've sort of, like the old beat 'em ups, like the old Street Fighters or the Mortal Kombats, you can button bash, but you can win some. But you go against someone who has learned all the combinations and that, they're gonna wipe the floor with you. I think there is definitely space in the marketplace for this. I've never played the original like yourself, Luigi. I did do a bit of reading. Apparently, the original was a bit sort of like Marmite. The overall consensus was great idea, but not really polished. It seemed more like an indie title or a bit of a rushed title. Whereas this one, again, from what I've read, the sort of common opinion is it's a lot more polished. It is that A-class title that loyal fans of the first one have been wanting to sort of get their hands on. And obviously with that polished finish, I think they're going to be more inclined, or they're going to be more likely to get a lot more players on their sort of player base. And I'm sure also as a group, we're not the only ones who are getting a bit tired of the same rinse and repeat. We had some great times on Modern Warfare, but there's only so much you can take. So when something new and niche does come along, I'm sure we're not alone. So I like to think that it's going to get the support and it's going to get the player numbers behind it. Because I think this could be some great fun to be had, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd say one thing that I found really interesting, Andy, as you're playing through that, you'll probably see. I just think it's very humorous. The amount of blood that is shed, it's absolutely mental. It's like, how has one character, and I will put character because they're not human, shed that much blood from
and
one
they're still
blade?
standing.
It's just mental.
They haven't bled out yet.
Exactly. And when Luigi was saying about the fight with pride and all that, I'm sorry, my pride would have gone as soon as I've lost a limb or my head's been taken off or something. I'd have gone, well, that's me buggered then. All right, I'm going to go home and going to watch TV. You know, even though TV weren't invented by that stage, but
You
still,
see, Tony, it was a different era there. You didn't give up until literally your last drop of blood.
You live and die by the sword, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's but a scratch.
Well, there's a fun fact for you, and some of you may know this, but for the listeners, Caesar was actually, well, there was conversations and rumours that went back that he was actually gay, and he encouraged his soldiers to love one another. So they'd make love to one another, so they would have that sort of connection. So on the battlefield, if your, best mucker, oppo, friend who you've served with gets killed, you'd fight for them because you've got that sort of lust, that love, that connection.
Really?
So yeah, he would encourage it. Yeah, honestly, I didn't believe this, but they would encourage this. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, this was in a school book. I think this was the Horrible Histories, but they talked about it in detail. But I remember a fraction of it where it talked about that it was encouraged to, because they were away from home for years.
Yeah.
Years, they would make love to one another. But it was to be sort of push towards that. You, being a Roman soldier, you're an elite soldier, you'd fight for your oppo, your loved one, because
well, am I the only one who wants to really say bullshit to my careers advisors back at school? Because if I was told I could be guaranteed to get laid, I may have changed my life decisions. I mean, this is crap.
You could have been a Roman legionary.
Exactly.
Well, do you know, in it, I can quite believe it because sort of that era, the Roman era, they were very famous for their big orgies. I don't know if you're aware
Italians
of.
for you.
Exactly.
Italians.
But,
I have a wife just to cover up. They're not gay.
But no,
that's why they all touch each other's legs and have arms around each other. The blokes. It's like, yeah. Sorry to any of your viewers, they're Italian.
It's the inner orgiastic in you.
Exactly. But no, I mean, I don't know.
Question.
Yeah, go on.
Quick question to you players. Do I need to select Team Agatha or Team Mason? Does that mean anything?
Mason.
We've gone Mason.
I tried to go Mason, but I ended
But
up on Agatha.
at least the first match that it puts you into now, you will be Agatha.
Yes.
Even though you select Mason, basically.
Yeah, that's why I was confused when I played yesterday. I was like, "Why am I Agatha when I selected Mason?"
Yeah,
but I selected Mason.
It's going to throw me into a game then.
Yeah, I think it's just with bots.
Yeah, but you'll see the video that there's that Agatha. They've got a bloody a lion, and it's like, wait a minute, I want to be Agatha now. I want the lion, but I don't know if it's just
but if if you watch the thing is, Andy's not got audio on, so the video that it does, it explains sort of what's happened, and I don't know. Did you hear all of that, Barney? The what happened between Agatha to then.
I did not. The sound wasn't working for me.
Oh, okay. So,
sounds like the new Jerry Springer.
Basically, so Mason was created because from a guy. I'm going to get this totally wrong, so any hardcore fans that may be listening, I apologise, but this is the general basis. So yeah, it shows you.
Now, mate.
It shows you the army, Agatha army, fighting, and basically they got absolutely run over. And one of the soldiers who basically survived from that battle decided to create like the Mason Order or whatever, and basically it is, nobody's going to be weak, nobody's going to be this, that, the other, because he saw what happened to Agatha because he was in that battle. So he created Mason, and it's basically for the peasants, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's all about strength and
honor.
Yeah, so that for me made me choose Mason.
Ooh, friendly fire's on, off, isn't it?
No,
I mean, like, I just managed to take off some of my allies' heads. By the
yeah.
Oh,
Be
brilliant.
careful.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, that's not the objective of the game.
No, it's not.
Off with
No-
his
no-
head.
Normally, you're supposed to kill
just
the
to
opposing
clarify
team.
to listeners, that doesn't mean you don't have to not do it. So sometimes seeing your allies' heads roll might give you the incentive
That's it. Exactly.
to play better.
So
We've
Yeah,
all been
they
in the
may-
office,
they may-
and you got the co-worker who pisses you off, and you wish you could fucking throttle them. This is your time. Make your allies' heads roll.
So, how about? Shall I just read you a little bit of the information in regards to the Mason Order? Would you like?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, and obviously the listeners can get an understanding as well. So, the Mason Order, also known as the Iron Fist or simply the Order, is a newly founded faction led by the former Agathian general Malric Terowin. The Masons claim that they seek to rebuild the lands to make the people of Agatha harder and stronger after the disastrous invasion of Tenosia and the death of King Alfonso Argon. Malric used the order to take control of Agatha, gaining support from the peasantry due to Argon's unpopularity and the fear of a counter-invasion by Tenosia. Yeah, so does that make...
Can I just make a quick comment? It's funny you say that, and there's a sign. I see it as there's a reason why I was drawn to Mason. My unit, actually, who I served with out in Afghan, we were actually known as Iron Fist. So, yeah, fits pretty well. Pretty well.
So, known as Iron Fist here, you see. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So, quite
I
fitting.
love this game. I've just put an arrow in someone's head. That's after forgetting that I was on the blue team because I chose Mason, as you guys told me to.
Yeah.
So I started chopping up the blues, and then I realised I was actually blue.
Oh, crikey.
But yeah, I mean, it's a game that I really, I would like to. I don't know if I'd ever be able to master it, but I would like to get good. Basically, get good.
You'll never play it for long enough to master it, Luigi. Let's be
well, if you guys came online with me, then I may, I may.
we have trouble coming with you, Luigi.
Of course. So here it says Mason Creed. Now this is their sort of bullet points. Glory is death by the sword. The weak shall serve the strong. A man's worth is judged by his competence. You keep what you kill. Change is necessary for improvement. Mercy on the battlefield is a trait of the weak. He who lives to run away, he who lives another day. Yeah. So.
Well, my question is, with regards to this game, again, I think it has so much potential, and I'd never played the first one, like like yourself and others, and the fanboys, girls. It's definitely got the foundation to build on something really exciting, and I don't think you'll ever become an expert. I think there's so much thrown into it. It's brilliant. So you may be skilled in a particular sort of if you're
a particular class,
yeah. What I would like to know, and you may be able to give me the answer straight away, or even the viewers in any of the comments from YouTube, Podbean, so on and so forth. Is there any chance of, when selecting your character, will you remain that character, and would you be able to build on upgrades, different weapons? Can you, sort of improve on your stamina and skill set, and go from there? So you become some form of a legend within your unit.
I'll be honest, I haven't looked into that sort of, that far into it, if I'm honest. It'd be interesting to find out what's sort of recorded and what changes can be made, etc.
Yeah, I mean, with the end of match rewards, whether you win or lose, you get some experience points. It looks like they're distributed between the different classes you can select from.
Yeah.
So I think gradually over time you'll unlock more abilities or weapons or whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, that's good.
It brings a lot of promise. I'm really excited for it, and I shall be looking to invest some more time in this game.
Yeah,
I've just finished a tutorial. I can give my 5 cents now.
Yes, off you go. Off you go. Take it away.
Firstly, you know, like I said before, we've played so much Modern Warfare, so many sort of battle royale games. I've never had such pleasure as someone running towards me. You line it for a headshot, and then you see an arrow go in the head rather than just a bit of a blood splat. That really gave me some happiness to actually see them carry on running with an arrow poked out of their skull to then finish them off with a kick and a stab. It was really pleasant.
Wow.
In the most, sadistic manner.
Yeah.
And secondly, I've just finished my first ever game with 11 kills and 3 deaths. Now, I never got that sort of kill-death ratio on Modern Warfare. So, I might be playing with 8-year-olds right now. I don't care. But, for those 2 points, I think it's great.
Take the win.
I'll poop on your parade a bit there, but that first game is with bots.
I had real names killing me.
Yeah. It does a bit like like in Wreckfest where you have the bots.
Crying out loud.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard? Don't say anything if it's not nice, Luigi.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
You just, I was this big, beautiful birthday helium balloon, and you popped me.
I'm so sorry.
And now I'm this flaccid bit of rubber on the floor, like your leftovers. Break my heart, Luigi. Now I've only got one decent thing: the arrow in a skull.
Luigi's leftovers. That's
Which is a director's cut of Luigi's Lounge.
Exactly.
18 and over subscribers.
Oh, brilliant. Has anybody got anything else they want to say before we wrap up on Chivalry 2?
No, let's get through this podcast and let's get gaming.
Oh, Tony,
Chivalry 2.
You're right, okay. That's the plan, is it, after this? Chivalry 2? I'm game.
I've got work early in the morning. That's why I'm committed to playing it, because I've really enjoyed this game and I really want to invest the time in it.
Don't you worry about work. It'll be fine.
Cheers, princess.
Okay. So, all right. The next sort of couple of games. It doesn't have to be, these 2 specific games. I've put these 2 on here because they've sort of stood out a bit for me. I put some footage from Dying Light 2 and Far Cry 6 into the Discord. Now, does anybody have anything in particular they want to say about those, or is there another game that anybody wants to discuss?
I love Dying Light.
Right,
I thought it was an amazing game. I think it filled a gap from where Left 4 Dead sort of left off all those years previous. Mm-hmm. From a personal experience, we've had some very, 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 very good times playing the original Dying Light. I love the open world aspect. Throw zombies in the mix if it's done well. You're on to a winner.
Yeah.
I like the mechanics of it all. As long as they, they don't fix something if it isn't broken. As long as they're keeping the fundamentals there as it is before, make the world bigger, make it a bit more dynamic. But as long as they don't ruin what, the foundations of what they built in the original.
Basically, don't do a Red Dead 2 then.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I don't think they're going to overcomplicate it like Red Dead did, but sometimes there's a bit too much change to something.
I think they've kept the basics,
It does look very similar to the first game. So basically, it's a free-running first-person game with zombie apocalypse survival and so forth.
I wasn't a fan of the first one. I invested quite a bit of time into it after Luigi was like, no, you need to give it a go. I played it. Yeah, it was okay. I enjoyed the free-running. There were moments that I was like, oh crap, some of them jump on vehicles to try and get out of the way of zombies. However, I didn't enjoy some of the missions that I had to do where you had to jump from building to telegraph poles. Just couldn't grasp it. I really tried to get past several of the missions.
Did you ever play Mirror's Edge?
No. No, never.
It's a very similar gameplay to Mirror's Edge. Actually,
It is brilliant
yeah.
game.
If you didn't play Mirror's Edge, because I actually really enjoyed Mirror's Edge.
Right,
Apart
okay.
from the combat side of things, because the combat side was very rough.
Yeah.
Although in Catalyst, the sequel to Mirror's Edge, they actually did a vastly improved job on the combat mechanics. But yeah, Mirror's Edge and
The free
Dying
running.
Light.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that
Yes.
out. Well, again, the game was a bit sketchy for my liking. I think there was some parts of it that was rushed, but there was some parts where you had the tactical, where you had to go and I don't know, plant some of the get the sirens to go from the vehicles to distract the zombies to get to from A to B. I enjoyed that. There was just certain points of the game where I don't know if it was a glitch or a software sort of problem, but trying to get from point A to point B from jumping from telegraph poles on. So just didn't enjoy it. However, from the videos and the trailers that I've seen of the new one, I'm more inclined to give it another go. It gives that the thing that stood out for me was the open world. I had that sort of The Last of Us sort of feel as in the open world, and I'm more inclined to give it a go. And after seeing a video the other day with Luigi from The Walking Dead, where it wasn't released, the game, it's got that sort of zombie vibe. But I wasn't too keen on the idea of zombies trying to throw punches, to have some form of more of an attack than more of a grapple and a bite. It had more of a throwing combat sort of vibe to it. So for me, I'd probably give it a go, but I think because of that stigma from the first one, I wasn't overly keen on it. So I'm not going to be in a rush to go out my way and play it. But if there was the chance of playing online, then of course, I'm going to play along with my mates.
The good thing with I mentioned to Barney prior to recording that with the second one, from start to finish can be played with your friends multiplayer, whereas Dying Light, the first one, I think it was somewhere between 90 to 95% could be played with friends, but there was a section or two where it was you had to do it on your own basically. So if it's for me, it's not a game I would play on my own because I'm a wuss and I don't like scary games, but
we'll protect you, Luigi.
Thank you. But it's definitely for me. This is definitely more of a game that I could say, right, if I play it on my own, I'm not going to enjoy it. However, if I play this with friends, for me, I feel I would really enjoy. That's my stance on it.
What you mean is, like when we've played World War Z, you just leave your mates to be the bait.
Exactly.
You're staying.
No, but World War Z is another example. Like I wouldn't play that game on my own. I don't overly enjoy it by myself, but when you're working
team
together,
mechanic.
yes, yeah. Perfectly put, Barney. Yeah, it's the team mechanic.
Without the team, it's much less of a game.
Less of a game. Yeah.
Just like Left 4 Dead was, which is probably the most famous, one of the original multiplayer incarnations of the sort of zombie survival SPS.
Yeah, and again, I think that because I was really excited for the Dead Island game, the first one.
Yes.
Now, I feel if they did better with the co-op play on that game, it could have been absolutely brilliant. But yeah, the playing it single player, I didn't have that much enjoyment from it, if I'm honest. So yeah,
you can still play Dead Island cooperatively today.
Yes, because they brought out like the definitive editions of them, didn't they? It is that they are titles that I've wanted to play properly. I played the original briefly, but again, because at the time the co-op play wasn't great, I sort of I didn't bother revisiting it. But yeah, anything else on Dying Light 2?
It might be reflective. You mentioning like obviously the multiplayer mechanic. Obviously, multiplayer mechanic makes most games more enjoyable. There are certain exceptions, but maybe it's a reflection of if it was actually a real world scenario. For example, you openly admit you're a bit of a scaredy cat. So say if you actually were in a Dying Light scenario or World War Z, if it was a single player campaign in real life, you'd probably spend it hidden in a supermarket, never seeing the light of day. Whereas if you actually had the support of a bunch of friends with you, you're more likely going to go and explore and things like that. So it might even be reflective of you as a person.
Quite possibly. I mean, I think you're right there, because if it was, if it's me on my own, I'm more like, even with these games, these open world games, on my own, I'm more of a sort of stealthy, I don't want to be seen, and I try and sneak and whatnot. But as soon as you bring like friends into the mix, you're then suddenly thinking, right, I'm not just responsible for myself. I've also got.
I bet you're an absolute dickhead when you're drunk in town, aren't you? So you have a quiet shandy when you're by yourself, but when you're out with your mates, you give it all large, don't you?
No,
You've got your mates to back you up.
Well, listen. This is what I'm saying. Like, when you have your group of friends, firstly, that or at least you should know that each other has each other's backs. Plus, that you're looking out for your fellow friend. So yeah, I think that gives you that bit more. I suppose in a way, it's a bit more adrenaline, and because you're just there's just more. It
just adds an extra dimension, doesn't it?
It does. So you've hit on something there,
I would say these games, especially the zombie games, I would say these are subtle simulators for what's going to happen. Hey,
shut up!
You really need to get sucked in, mate. Exactly, because you don't want to get sucked in, mate. I need to go all the way down to see my daughter down on the coast, and I won't say where, but I'm thinking already. How am I going to get down there? My car, and Luigi knows this, I have in the boot of my car everything you can think of: a bar, a rifle. I have a tent. I have a cooker. I have a jet boiler, water, rations, spare clothes, first aid kit, binoculars.
You're bloody doomsday prepper, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Minus the rifle. So the first person I'm going to see is, well, I can't say, but I would then try and go right to my friends who are still in the force and say, look, come on, let me in. Then I'll try and get myself a Land Rover, a 4x4, hit the railway tracks, because they're not going to be as congested as the motorways are. I'm going to get down south to the coast where my daughter is and go, right, stay in the loft. I'm already telling her mum this, saying, right, if there's a zombie apocalypse, stay in that loft. Stay in that loft.
Stay in that loft and I'll make it to you.
Yeah, get some supplies and I'll make it to you. Even if it takes a month, I will be there. Just stay there, pop a tile off, throw your waste out the roof, but make sure you're well insulated. Don't let the rain get in. But pop a tile off to see if it's clear.
Has this turned into Doomsday Prepper podcast right now?
Yeah, and
Luigi's Doomsday Lounge.
No. Sorry, I'm going to give it a chance to advertise mine. So anyone who's interested, you can catch me on Tony's Doomsday every Friday.
Hey, maybe Tony, maybe that's an idea for a podcast for you, discussing different scenarios of like Doomsday.
Well,
all the preparations that you've made to accommodate them.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I've got my ideas of a Doomsday, but you can never sort of predict what's going to happen. But
no.
I certainly would be going towards the local TA centre and, speaking to some of the guys that I know still serve and go, right, is there any chance you can loan me, 60 rounds and a rifle, and then I'm on my way. I've got an Leatherman. That's fine. So yeah, it's anyway, we've gone off track here, but still, I think these are
Really? I hadn't noticed.
These are certainly subtle simulators. These games in preparation. So
They're
Luigi,
psychologically preparing us for when the apocalypse comes.
That's it.
That's true. That's true.
Well, that's why you should always keep a good stock of bottled water and a good stock of tins in your cupboards.
I thought you were going to say that this is why you should keep playing video games, because they'll like prepare you for the
Yeah.
Hey, maybe that's why they've moved on to VR, because you know, to put you in the action even closer to the action. You see, so
Exactly.
maybe that day's getting closer. Who knows?
Exactly. Why do you think I'm investing in a camper van? Why do you think I've got a solar?
Is that because you watch Walking Dead with Herschel?
Yeah. Sorry. What was that? Sorry, guys.
Oh, you go, Barney.
Have you installed that bulletproof armor and the wall of spikes as well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and my wheels are made out of skulls, so they can't be pierced or punctured. No, I have invested a great deal of time, but financially, yeah, a great deal of money, for this. But yeah, I'm gonna, as soon as I get it on day one, right, babe, right, get the steel. She'll be like, "What are you doing?" I'm gonna make modifications. What are you doing? I'm putting spikes on the wheels. I'm Mad Max. Get out of my way. And then I've got the little gremlin running behind me, like, "Master, do you want NAS?" Mad Max. And saying that was a brilliant film and a great game. Brilliant film.
I really enjoyed the films, but I haven't played the game.
No, me neither. The game does actually look really good.
The game had really good reviews. Had good feedback, that game.
Yeah, I watched a video. I did watch a video on Mad Max game a few weeks ago, and I did sort of think to myself, how the hell did this game slip me by? It looked really good.
It's a really good game.
Was it single player or multiplayer though?
Single.
They missed a trick there. Multiplayer Mad Max, that's where it's at.
Maybe the next one. Well, we'll move on from Dying Light and Doomsday prepping. And right, so the next one that I wanted to discuss was Far Cry 6. Now, I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Far Cry in general. Sorry. As I said, 4, I've said this before, number 4, didn't like it. 5, I thought was brilliant. And I do like the look of number 6. I really do. I believe it doesn't tell you, I don't think, exactly where it's set, but it's obviously some type of sort of South American. Yeah. And I quite like what they've done in regards to... I know Andy's probably got a different opinion here, but I do like what they've done in regards to the guns and things. Like you're basically creating weaponry out of any resources that you have. For example, they showed off a gun that uses like a petrol engine, I think, or a diesel engine, and and also a music gun, and this music gun, it was playing the Macarena. I don't know if anybody saw it.
Yeah.
I thought it was absolutely brilliant. You can even in number 6, you can even customize your backpacks, which I feel I don't know. I've got this feeling I'm going to enjoy.
That's what you want from a new first person or third person shooter, isn't it?
Of course.
Backpack customization.
Well, no, look. Now,
that's going into Red Dead 2 territory.
I was going to say.
Well,
just triggered Andy.
Right.
Everyone stand back.
Well, I'm quite, I'm excited for it. It's not going to be a game that I pick up on release or anything like that. I will wait. It's not something that I'm absolutely urgently needing to play, because at the end of the day, a bit like... I feel bad even saying this name against Far Cry, but a bit like FIFA, it is a similar game every year, but every time it's released. However, it depends on what they add, and what changes they've made. And I feel that there's enough changes to Far Cry 6 to make it worth playing. That's me anyway.
I definitely think it's giving it a new lease of life because, again, like yourself, I played Far Cry 2 and 5, and I wasn't overly impressed. Again, it was very, generic. They didn't really venture out. They were so fixed in their comfort zone. They just gave it, I say new lease of life. That's probably the wrong word, but they just kept the title going. Now, what I like about this one, for me, it gives it that sense of free play, and I think what they've done is a little bit. And hear me out when I say this. It's a bit like GTA sort of gameplay, but also with the modifications that you can do. It's like Fallout. So we can do the random sort of modifications and upgrades. It's got that sort of Fallout and GTA vibe in one, but also the cartels. It's got that Colombian sort of Cuba, South America sort of vibe as well. And I think it could be good. I think as long as these side missions are not generic as well, because you'll have the little side missions and the main missions. As long as these side missions are not the case of you've got to take over this depot, you've got to blow this up. I think it could be a really good game, and I think they could really get good reviews from
I think, as you mentioned about side missions, I think that's always been the Far Cry way, hasn't it? In regards to side missions, it's sort of prepping. Prepping for that main mission, and the prepping is, blowing this up and stealing that, and I can't see them steering away from that with their side missions. I mean, would be nice. There may be something fresh and something new they put in, but I don't think it on the side missions side of things. I don't think it would be anything like any major difference personally. But we'll see. I haven't delved into. I don't know. I'm not even sure if the information's available online in regards to that. But yeah, it's just sort of, again, first impressions.
Well, if it's a free download, then I'll give it a go. But I won't invest. I won't be looking to dip into my own pocket and paying for it.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, Trip Hazard, Out of Time Ecto 1, Andy, Barnaby.
Yes, yeah. So, I'm kind of a little bit critical of this one as well because, it does give me that kind of Red Dead 2 vibe, and that they may be overcomplicating the formula. It's always good to mix things up, but weapon customization doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
I'm afraid. Weapon crafting.
Okay.
And I'm going critical, as we spoke of earlier, like Barney. But in its defense, I've never once played any Fallout, any Far Cry game. So I can't comment on the series or anything like that. But from me looking at it as a completely sort of new punter, I get too much Borderlands and Fallout vibes from it.
Yeah.
And to me, if especially a game that is very rinse and repeat, you mentioned FIFA, the Call of Duties, the Battlefields, better similarities would be like your Assassin's Creed or your Watch Dogs.
True.
They're very sort of rinse and repeat games. It doesn't fill me with confidence when you do see new things, and either you could, like Barney mentioned, liken it to overcomplicating, e.g. customization of a backpack, or how I also see it is, you are these original ideas, or are they looking at other series of games and thinking, oh, what can we poach from there? What can we pinch from there?
Yeah.
Which in their own right, they're great. Borderlands nails what it tries to do. Fallout, again, is other than the odd exception, it nails what it tries to do. But it works for a reason. Is it necessarily going to work in another series of games? No. And I haven't looked too much into it, but when you're set in a scene of South America, Latin, the cartels, things like that, I'm picturing Scarface. Is he gonna pick up an Uzi, or is he gonna make a music gun with a lawnmower? It's like I can't see how that's gonna fit. Post-apocalyptic world, Fallout, you haven't got guns laying around. You have to make some shit. But in real world, like what in God's name has come across that you have to make a music gun?
Well, I think the general sort of thing is obviously, as everyone's aware, South America, a lot of it is, run by cartels and whatnot. And again, it's that
the gangs in Argentina and I think it's South Brazil, where people live sort of shanty houses.
But this is what I'm saying. So anybody that's trying to sort of fight back against anything like that, they're going to find it difficult to come across your conventional everyday guns.
So unless you fire a music gun and get them doing Latin salsa dance,
exactly.
you got no hope of escaping.
Exactly.
Ole!
Let's stop all this crime and let's have a little dance.
There's one way to sell this. Tony, back in your days in the military, you're stuck behind enemy lines. Do you grab your rifle or do you grab a harmonica? Just need to know, because there's a bit of confusion. Do you grab a musical instrument?
I play the triangle and then blow the pipe.
Exactly, and that's all you need, isn't it?
That's it, mate, yeah.
Andy, I thought you was more open-minded than this, my friend.
I'm very open-minded, but like I say, does the shoe fit? You can't force it to fit.
But you see, this is where I think it does. I
haven't played the series, so I can't comment fully.
But I genuinely think it does, because to me, again, going back on the whole thing that it would be difficult for people who are wanting to fight back against these sort of gangs and cartels and corrupt governments. Sorry,
I can't not laugh. Where are you going? Like, you're gonna come to the cartel unless you're gonna get them to do the Macarena. What point is there of a music gun?
Right, hang on a moment. No, when I say music gun, it actually does. It does fire like some sort of projectile.
Notes?
I don't know if it fires. I think it actually fires.
Can I get a hi-hat on that, please?
I'm pretty sure it actually shoots out. I think it sort of shoots out CDs, but at such a.
Is there a button that you can press like you used to at school on the keyboard, like DJ? Is there that?
No, but obviously, if you
again in a non-post-apocalyptic world, so this is a normal everyday world in South America, where let's be honest, CD is a dying media, and it's all about MP3s. Not only have you fashioned a music gun, but you've come across a stockpile in the middle of fucking South America of fucking Westlife's greatest hits album.
Yeah, probably.
Where does this fit?
Well, I will finish explaining my point. As I said, when you're fighting against the gangs, cartels, corrupt government,
with your CDs,
you're going to create something that can
a new fucking boy band if you're not careful.
You're going to create something.
The Four Tops.
Right, you're going to create something that you can hurt somebody with. Now, if that is a weapon that consists of shooting out a CD at speed so that it would actually go into your body, so be it.
I tell you what.
It's going to be dual wielding a fucking spud gun.
Yeah, why not?
Honestly, this is honestly relevant. You say this. I had Mythbusters in the background. I was watching that from Amazon Prime. So any members of Amazon Prime, they would know. Amazon Prime.
Just mention it a few more times. You get paid by the word.
He needs a commission.
Exactly. No, but they actually did a test on CD-ROMs, and it was talking about the speed of a CD-ROM. There was cases, and they obviously, where they try to say, yeah, no, this is plausible, this is a dud, so on and so forth, of cases. Now, this one was about CD-ROMs, and what I liked about this, they were putting this through the speeds of the quality of a CD, and the type of CD-ROMs, and how they fire out, and they used their sort of gelatin sort of mold of to resemble a body. And what it was fascinating was when they went over 4,000 neutron speed. I can't remember what it's called. Sorry, so I don't know the terminology, but it then would break and shatter, and then it would fling out in bits, and it caused large sort of
It was an
Yeah, it's
angle grinder.
laceration.
They attached the CD to an angle grinder.
That's it. Yeah.
And when you reach
you know what?
4,000 RPM, they'll shatter because
Yes,
the
that's
CD
it.
can't hold
Exactly.
together anymore.
Exactly.
Brilliant. So not only
exactly
have you
it.
got a dud music gun, you got dud ammo as well.
But it didn't kill any. It wouldn't kill anyone. It would just give you. Well, it depends if it was, through the eye or
CD
anything, but
shrapnel.
through the body. Yeah, it'd be CD shrapnel, so it would just cause large lacerations, and it's sort of make an impact to the body. But yeah, very interesting. So if they've grabbed that concept by watching it on Amazon Prime, Mythbusters, then fair play to them.
Well, Andy,
Like how you're getting both shows, you get Amazon Prime and you're getting an extra credit for Mythbusters as well. So yeah.
okay.
Yes.
And $1 paid for his camper van to protect from the zombie horde.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So Amazon Prime, Amazon, if you're listening, Jeff, all right, bud. I need some camper gear. I'm happy to film it and advertise Amazon Prime. For the viewers who
You should do your own show on Amazon.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It'll be like those
Amazon
car renovation shows, but like turning an ordinary camper van into like a zombie-proof.
Yeah, exactly.
machine.
Doomsday prepper. And I might do that in 5 years' time.
And then you can film his missus's reaction during it as well.
Yeah, she won't be happy.
Yeah, when she sees her perfect family getaway vehicle turn into like, what the fuck is that, Tony? Why have we got like bloody rotating like whatever fucking
Spinning
blade
blades
on the front
wheel,
and stuff?
yeah. Gun turrets on the roof.
Yeah.
Andy, I think you've come across something, in regards to a stockpile of CDs, because it's come to my attention here that it says for some reason every single disc appears to be a CDR with a single track. Los Del Rios 1993 dance classic Macarena. So it seems like Macarena wasn't very popular in South America, so there's obviously a stockpile of those discs. That's the reason, my friend. That's the reason.
Some people are getting paid too much to do inside jokes in the game development department. There's no other reason for this strangeness.
I mean, I'll admit it is a very, very. I mean, it's got to be the strangest weapon to come up with, but at the same time,
Well, I don't know. I saw some pretty strange weapons in Saints Row.
oh yeah, true. However, do you know what? After the second one, it lost me. Saints Row. I wasn't a fan.
I actually think the third improved on it.
Oh really?
Yep, I think so. Saints Row 2 didn't really grab me, but Saints Row 3,
man.
I think they actually improved on it a bit. Although with the superpowers, it did kind of detract from the core gameplay, I think.
That's what I mean. That's what put me off. 1 and 2 pretty much kept to that sort of,
Yeah,
real.
they were bland in comparison, though, whereas Saints Row 3, it was completely out there. But
I don't know. I had a lot of enjoyment out of the first and second game. Hell of a lot.
And two were competing with the GTA franchise, so that's probably why they broke the mold and did what they did with the third installment.
Yeah.
To try and set themselves apart slightly.
Yeah.
Well, I think you need to. I think you need to differentiate yourself in the marketplace.
Yeah. Let's have a look. So yeah, so we've discussed Chivalry 2, Dying Light 2, Far Cry 6. Was there anything that anybody wanted to bring up in regards to a future release before we wrap up, or are we happy?
Well, no, not a future release, but there was something I remember you were talking about the other week, and what I would love to see when we're talking films, games, I'd love to see a remastered version or re-release of Max Payne. I remember playing that on the
Max Payne. Great
on the
game.
computer.
Great game.
Brilliant storyline.
Oh dear, I'm another. I've not played them, I'm afraid.
Not even a
my
bit.
God.
Not even for 10 minutes.
I think
Right, guys, I've got to go now.
I literally at a friend's house. I played one. I played it for like literally a minute or two, and then we went out.
Not even your regular 10 minutes.
No, exactly. Didn't even get 10 minutes because
God.
we had to
Another
leave.
intervention we've got to have with you, Luigi. We just
I
keep
played through them.
ramping up these interventions.
I
We
played
need
through
to
number
chat.
1 and 2 in its entirety. They're great games.
They're
Oh,
brilliant
okay.
games. I just used to love how sort of eerie it was and how dark it was. Going
It's
through
quite a
the
dark
scaffoldings of the
storyline as well.
hotel.
A very dark storyline.
Yeah, very, and it's very, it's very, it's more creepy than upsetting. But I just used to love the moves when you could dive around corners and start shooting, and it goes slow mo.
That was just stupid.
And then, and then you get shot, obliterated. Shot with shotgun pellets or bloody pistol, and it's like, right, I'll find a cabinet in the toilet and then take some painkillers. Oh yeah. That really works, but that's my only criticism. But brilliant game, so dark, and the storyline it was definitely ahead of its time. And, but going back on that from movies and games, I'd love to see that as a remaster sort of remake. I'd love to see that on Xbox.
Talking about Max Payne, I did think back. I don't know, probably a year or two ago. Because they released Max Payne on mobile, the actual full first title.
Yeah.
I actually did purchase it when it was on sale, so I've just had a look, and so I have got it. I've just not played it.
But you did play it?
I haven't played it.
That doesn't sound like Luigi.
No. So yeah, if it's that good, I may have to even install it on my phone and just give it a playthrough.
Honestly,
It's that
mate,
good. Play it on something decent and not your phone. Come on.
Yeah,
Luigi.
my phone is
give it the
decent.
time of day.
I've got a
How
blue.
much did you spend on your computer?
I've got I've got a Bluetooth
Right.
controller for my phone, so I can play it on controller anyway. So it doesn't really
Unless
matter.
you've got a 22-inch phone, then why would you play it on that and not on your monitor or your TV? Come on.
Yeah.
I'll
You've
think
got a
about it.
beautiful bit of equipment at home, staring at you in the face, saying, "Play me, play me,
Play with me,
mate." Brilliant game.
I've got to admit, I did like the look of number 3, but I know that's totally different from 1 and 2.
I haven't played number 3. Can't comment on that.
No, nor have I. But 1 and 2, brilliant. The first, definitely start at the beginning because I think you'll just get so invested in the storyline. It's very dark. It's very.
From number 1, from memory, there's a weird level where you're high on painkillers or something.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah. You're drowsy as hell, and it's like
Yeah,
you're
and
literally
it's like
going through hell or death.
Yeah, it's like a really messed up level.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
trippy as hell. Yeah, really trippy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I didn't like that.
I'll look into it because I have been sort of revisiting old games that I never played because there are still, even from the PS2 sort of original
Many
Xbox era, there are plenty of games that I've not played that
What's
are
on your
popular.
playlist?
I think if you listen back through all the previous podcasts, I think you probably racked up about 100 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
The amount of time
Least.
Barney mentions about an intervention with you.
But no, I mean Max Payne will definitely it will definitely be on my list. I also I don't think it released on PS2. I wanted to try out Manhunt 2 because I've played the first one.
Yes, that was original Xbox, wasn't it?
I believe so. I'm trying to remember. I've got a load of them. I've gone through sort of videos on YouTube and checked, sort of the popular games from back then. And there was quite a few. I was like, I remember hearing good things about that one. And never played them before. So I will revisit that era, PS2 era, and it will be played on my fantastic PC, Tony. But no, so I think we'll call that an episode, to be honest, unless anybody else has got anything they want to say. No?
I'm eager to shoot some arrows into skulls.
Yeah, we're going to go and play Chivalry 2 now. But yeah, thank you for being here with me, you guys. It's
Been a pleasure.
yeah, it's
Wouldn't be anywhere else.
Thank you for having me.
So kind, and thank you to anybody listening. It's much appreciated. We do this for you guys. No, we do it for ourselves, really.
And the money, the fantastic amounts of money.
Oh yeah, all that money.
Before we do tie it
Luigi.
up,
Yeah. I've got something to add as well. So Andy, go
I'm
first.
just going to give a shout out to Ram, who contacted Luigi's Gaming Lounge.
Yes.
And if we can just touch on for a couple of minutes what he brought up.
Yeah.
So he brought to our attention about the PlayStation TV.
Yes.
God rest its soul.
Well, no, it was.
so-
It was. I thought he mentioned PlayStation. Is it to do with PlayStation Now,
PS
wasn't it?
Yeah, PSTV had the Now service in it. So the PSTV, obviously, the main pitch of it was to, one, enable you to remotely play your PS4 on another TV.
Yeah,
And two,
play
to be able to access the Vita games catalogue.
I've got one.
On a thing. And I purchased that bag of shit back in the day.
Yeah.
Because I've got a Vita, and I thought, oh, brilliant, I can stream a PS4 from my lounge into the bedroom. And I probably had it for about 3 months. I thought, this is fucking wank, and I sold it.
Yeah.
And I can't actually tell you the fundamental reasons why. Yeah, I think Ram mentioned when he touched base with the lounge that was it ahead of its time. I think elements of it was, but I think the fact that the whole sort of OS and the system was actually implemented into Sony TV sets and possibly Samsung and different TV sets, and it still flopped. I think there was something fundamentally wrong with the architecture and the design of it. From what I've sort of researched on the back of that, the Vita sort of catalogue was very, very touch and go. Like the hardcore Vita fan base, there wasn't the titles available to them because there wasn't. Obviously, Vita's a touchscreen controller, a touchscreen thing, and it didn't have that capability. So many games couldn't be played. And from my experience, also the streaming side of it, it wasn't the most fluid. It wasn't as good as it should have been. So partly maybe ahead of its time, but my opinion, I just don't think it was very well designed and thought through. I think maybe it was rushed to market or something.
Well,
sounds like it was good in concept but poor in execution.
Exactly, yeah.
I think possibly it maybe was a couple of years ahead of its time because broadband speeds are getting faster all the time. Processors
definitely.
are going faster all the time. So with a faster processor inside the TV itself and faster internet speeds, it probably would have been okay. But I think
all of those personally affected me. Like the slower internet speeds, the cheaper, slower processor TV, and also the hardware of the actual PS TV itself. Again, like you say, if it was designed and manufactured a few years down the line, it's going to be better. But yeah, I think it's such a niche product that I don't even think a lot of people necessarily even knew it came to market. I think it was probably even only on the shelves for a couple of years.
I didn't know about it.
Well,
yeah.
I think, well, first of all, Ram, thank you very much for getting in touch with us and putting your points across. But I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that what Ram was actually talking about was the actual service PS Now, not the actual device of the PS TV. Because obviously PS Now is basically a bit like the Game Pass, it gives you access to X amount of games. But however, yes, the PS TV, it was aimed at, as you say, Andy, streaming like your PlayStation 4 to it, in another room or something like that. But yeah, the actual PS Now service, I just I feel like it was ahead of its time, definitely.
The problem with the PS Now service, other than maybe the last 6 months, you could argue, again, it's been a bag of shit.
Yeah,
if you have the two biggest supply, your Xbox Game Pass, or even before that, Live, even the online architecture of Microsoft servers compared to Sony's. But the streaming side of Sony has been so behind the times and the quality and the standard and the catalog and everything compared to that of Microsoft. Yes, it has got better. Is it still even up there? No, I don't think so, but it is a lot better. I think back in the day, it's just, why would you? I don't think it really offered much at all. I think if you gonna, like Barney touched on, concept and execution, if you're gonna put something to market, do a good job of it, because it's only going to shoot you in the foot if it doesn't. It's all right trying to copy other people or test the water, but
and that's what
do that behind
probably to Sega's downfall. So if Sony aren't careful, they could be the next Sega, and they could be pushed out the console market.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Because
definitely.
you've got two power horses, Nintendo and Microsoft. Let's be honest, neither of them going anywhere.
No,
Sony's the one who has the most on the line. They make so much of their revenue from the gaming consoles and games and things. They've got a lot to lose, but sometimes in times of desperation, you make those fundamental mistakes. If they start having to play catch up or start having to be innovative rather than coasting, because they have held the market for a long time. If they start getting complacent or have been, and they have no new ideas, or they introduce new ideas and mess them up, which they did in the past, then, like Barney says, maybe the end is nigh. I don't think it is, but it could certainly go
definitely
that way.
not this generation, probably not next generation, but they could start down that slope.
yeah, we'll have to see what the future holds. But yeah, good points. Again, as I said, thank you very much, Ram, for bringing that up, because we did not mention PS Now when we was discussing the streaming services. So yeah, thank you very much. And
any other listeners have any other questions? Get in touch with the lounge.
Yeah,
It's a really good idea, because
that's
I'd like to start discussing that kind of feedback. I think that could be a really
Yeah.
interesting topic for future shows.
I think I think it was a couple of episodes ago, I did mention about setting up an email address specifically, so we can get some feedback and any sort of questions. So what I'm going to do, I'll get that set up so it's ready for the next episode.
I'd
You need to
also
let the
like
listeners.
to-
You need to let the listeners know to expect like a 1.5 year reply time, though, Luigi.
Yes, of course.
Luigi
From you,
standard time.
unless you have someone else man the mailbox.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
I'd very much like to hear from the listeners what their views are on these games that we've talked about today, much like Chivalry as well. Any of the
Definitely.
fanboys there, it'd be great to hear
'cause they
from
have
them.
quite a different perspective from us, so
Yeah.
it's good to
exactly.
hear different points.
And also what tactics they probably use, and same with Dying Light 2 and Far Cry 6, what they make of it, how do they think it's going to be different? Do you think it's going to be a good contender of any future games that are due to be released? So it'd be good to hear from them as well, to really get engaged with, and probably invite a few of the regulars on for a sort of a VIP sort of session, one episode. It would be great to hear from them.
Yeah.
So thank you all for
the
listening.
list. You ain't coming in.
That's it. Well, I'll get that set up, that email set up for next week. But yeah, other than that, that's been episode 9 of Luigi's Gaming Lounge. So thank you very much.
One more thing.
Oh,
If we can get some feedback, if there's any interest in like a range of Doomsday Tony-esque sort of merchandise, get in touch, because I'd love to see that. Tony sort of caricature head with a camper and things like that. I think it could go down a tree. So if there is some demand, let us know and we can get that in production.
Exactly. Let's see.
We'll look into that. I'll have to speak to procurement and
It would make a great Christmas gift.
Brilliant. All right. So episode 9 done with. So we'll see you on the next one, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.